And welcome in to the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show brought to you by DrinkSip. A scenic view over the blue as we will recap what is a tough loss for the Boise State Broncos. 30-7. Fresno State took care of business today, but we have a lot to recap. Of course, we will be live with Spencer Danielson. We will hear from a couple of players on set, which we're very grateful that they're going to give the time for that with Matt Lauter and Jaden Virgin-Morgan. Alongside Taylor Tharp and Tyreque Jones, I'm Joey Jenkins. We have a lot to get into, but these are not the moments you want on the blue, but I'm sure we'll be able to break it down and see kind of what happened, fellas. So let's start off with kind of the recap of this game today in which the milk can stays with Fresno State. It started off with a 1-yard touchdown run by Elijah Gilliam. Low-scoring game in the start, guys. Really just thought, okay, it's maybe anybody's game. It was only 7-0 near the end of the first quarter. Then later on, it was a touchdown by Max Cutforth. Of course, we'll get to the Maddox Madsen injury. Chase Penry catches that touchdown. That tied it up at 7. Cutforth, you were hoping maybe that was going to be the beginning of something, Taylor.
Absolutely. That was a great moment for Max. Unfortunately, there weren't many more in the game. Here, a drop, late throw, a little outside to Lauter. But, you know, so many things didn't go our way offensively tonight. So we'll talk about it, but it was tough to see it go that way.
That was the first interception for Max Cutforth. Right before halftime, Fresno State responds. Dylan Lynch with a 36-yard field goal. And then it was Max Cutforth just stripped right there, fumble. This is when it started to kind of unravel a little bit for Boise State.
It happened a couple times, Joey. We just saw him hold the ball a little too long. He's a step slow, but that's because he hasn't been in the game, and reps count.
Brandon Ramirez got a 3-yard touchdown run. That made it 17-7, Fresno State near the beginning of the third quarter. Max Cutforth looking again, and that one easily picked off. Just didn't see Bryson Donaldson.
Yeah, you got to give credit to the Fresno defense. They played tough. They were flying around. They got some momentum, and they caused a lot of those turnovers.
4 minutes and 23 seconds of the third quarter made it 24-7 with the Donaldson rush, and then in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go, it was a 43-yard field goal. Fresno State led at this point 27-7 in the battle for the milk can, and then another field goal, this one with just under 4 minutes to go from 33 yards, made it 30-7. That is the final score. A lot to recap with this one, obviously. It's the 16-game win streak snapped. It's the milk can staying in Fresno for the third consecutive game. Still the Mountain West has, it's up for grabs, a big one against San Diego State. But, Tyreque, I want to start with you about, you were most recently on this team. What is a game like that do in the locker room? What is that locker room like right now?
It tests you. I would say most definitely. I mean, especially because of how tough the loss was, it's going to test to see if guys are quick to be finger pointers, blamers, if they're going to complain, or if we're really going to try and be critical and be honest with ourselves and try to make corrections and get better. So, I mean, for the most part, like those guys right now, this was a tough loss. This is something that you don't want to, produce on the blue. But, there's a lot of things that we can grow from and get better at and, change keep our season the way we want it to go.
As we take a look at the team stats one more time, I wanted to point out a couple things with those team stats with Taylor Tharp. The 3 turnovers, that's how much of that is Cutforth just as a backup quarterback. You sit there and you go, okay, I wasn't expected. I mean, you always want to be ready, but when you look at the stats there, what stands out to you?
Well, we didn't really do much of anything today offensively, and I would love to say Fresno State offensively, took over the game, but they didn't. Our defense stepped up a lot, but they were out there a lot. And, we got to take care of the ball. We showed after the Maddox injury, we had some moments of trying to get the run game going. We couldn't really do that, and that's unfortunate because in those situations where a backup's in the game, you've got to be able to establish the run and lean on what you're good at. Unfortunately, we put Max in a lot of situations as a backup that he wasn't quite ready for, and it was a step slow on a sack with a couple fumbles, and in some situations a little late to deliver the ball, and Fresno took advantage of it, and unfortunately we turned the ball over way too much.
Of course, we want to talk about a couple of the big headlines from tonight, and we start with Maddox Madsen. Here's what we do know. We know that there's a boot on the right foot. We start with the quarterback. What is that situation like? Not saying you've been in that exact situation as Maddox Madsen, but what does that do to a team when right in the beginning of your game as you see Maddox Madsen gets hurt and now in a boot?
Well, you feel for Maddox, first of all. He's somebody that's a leader of this team, and he's put in a lot of time, preparation, and effort to be a leader on this team. And I think the guys look towards him to be that person week in and week out. When you're on the sideline, it's harder to do that. You know, he's now going to be in a vocal leading position. You know, you flip the script. I think a lot of people have been wondering, oh, should we look to what's behind Maddox this year? And I've always said no, because he's proven that he's the guy for us to take us week in, week out. And I think what was tough today as a career backup guy myself was I had a moment of being excited for Max, hurt for Maddox, but it all just didn't work out well today. You lose your starting quarterback with an ankle injury, and you end up with a backup that comes in, and he's a step slow, and he hasn't gotten all the reps, and that's tough to be in those situations. And Fresno, again, tip your hat to them on their defensive side. I think they did a really good job confusing looks and being physical, more physical than we were today. So when we put a backup in the game and we can't run the ball, and we've got a backup in there trying to make third and long throws, it's a recipe for disaster.
That's what's interesting, guys. I thought about this game is, okay, when Maddox gets hurt, Cutforth goes in, I think we all thought, okay, run-heavy offense, you know, put Max in a situation where he's not having to throw it 40 yards down the field. But the rushing game struggled today. It's 91 total yards.
I would like to say, like, as a defensive player, right, like seeing a backup come in, it kind of makes it harder to get that running game going, because we already know from a defensive standpoint, he's not the number one guy. Like, he's not the guy that gets all the reps, like to your point, Tharp, as far as, you know, consistently being out there with the ones and getting those reps. But for the most part, like, it's something where it goes back to my point is we have a lot that we can grow from this film.
Yeah,
like, that's something where Max, he not having the reps, he can now look at the film and actually, you know, grow from something off of that.
Yeah, I agree, Tyreque. It's really hard to become one-dimensional as an offense. I would say our offense all year long, and even going back into last year, if we can't run the ball, we're typically not that good. And I mean that just transparently. But more so than ever when a backup comes in the game and the defense on the other side is able to pinpoint against a run, and we're not able to do certain stuff we want to do in the pass game, that's super difficult for us.
Well, we have a lot to get to, more to come on the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show. We want to hear from head coach Spencer Danielson. Certainly a lot of thoughts. We will go live to his press conference when we return with the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show, brought to you by DrinkSip.
What does together really mean?
It's combining two things.
It's family.
Yeah, but it's my friends too.
It's us. Let's go bigger.
Hold up. It's the 07 Hook and Ladder.
It's communication. Comunicación.
Okay, together is finding common ground.
Even when others say it can't be done.
Like Doctorson Insurance, on the same team.
My team.
That's together.
Let's go.
At Title One, we're more than a title and escrow company. It starts with respect, and we pass it on.
Because humility makes us better teammates.
We stay hungry on and off the field.
And healthy in mind and body.
With integrity at every step.
And community in our heart.
Boise, football season is here. And whether it's touchdowns or turnovers, fans are still waking up happy thanks to DrinkSip non-alcoholic beer. Always fresh, lower calories, delicious taste. Celebrate the highs, rally through the lows, and always stay in the game. A portion of sales goes to help student athletes. DrinkSip NA Beer Company, brought to you by Bronco legend DeMarcus Lawrence and proud sponsor of the Horseshoe Collective.
On the blue, it is the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show, 30-7, a upset win for Fresno State. The milk can continues to stay in Fresno, and a tough one for the Broncos. Still to come later on in the show. We are going to go live to Spencer Danielson's press conference when he makes the podium. And, you know, why I think this postgame show is important, we're still going to hear from Jaden Virgin-Morgan and Matt Lauter. They're scheduled to join us, so certainly a couple of huge leaders for that team. But before we get to Spencer, I want to start again with you, Tyreque. If you can take us in that locker room, is this something where you try to have a quick memory? You try to remember what it feels like? Because I think there's a lot of Bronco Nation that, quite frankly, is shocked today.
I think you do what's best for you as a player, right? And, like, something that's not going to hurt the team. I mean, I knew I was a guy that if, coming off this loss, I was going to think about it probably the entire weekend, getting into next week, just so I can, like, really feel that and know that when I'm coming into that next week, I'm going to work hard and make sure I don't have that feeling again. You may have guys that are like, all right, you know what, next game. Like, they're easy to erase it. They're easy to, push it to the side and be able to, lock into what's next and coming in, ahead of them. It's different vibes, But I would say, like, just as far as, what works and what's actually going on, those guys are, like, just doing what naturally works for them. And so, you have different type of characteristics, different type of plans and outlooks of how guys go about it. But it's really what is going to work best for the team that honestly matters when it comes to that.
A leader's got to lead, Joey. I mean, there's still a lot of season left, and we're going to dive into how we control our own destiny here. And today, let's be honest, that was a rough day for Boise State. For the fan base, for a game on the blue, we didn't show up the way I think we thought we'd show up. Doesn't mean we lacked preparation, doesn't mean we didn't have the right, things didn't go our way today, from injuries to production to a lot of different things. Well, it's over with, right? Put it away, move on.
Yeah.
The good thing is we've got 2 weeks to prepare for our next game. The bad thing is we've got 2 weeks to let this sour taste be in our mouth.
Yeah,
and it works both ways.
Yeah. Is this something that, because the film is not pretty, is that something you break down a lot of film still of what happened, or is it like we gotta find out and look at film of stuff that we do well and focus on that?
Well, I think you get through this film, right? Like, you don't drag it on and beat a dead horse with that. But for the most part, like, you get through it. Like, and you're honest with yourself, you're honest, and you hold yourself accountable, so that way you can get better and do the things that we need to do to be able to win. And then you focus on your next opponent. But yeah, I think it's a good balance of getting through it, making sure that we're honest with ourselves and actually making the right corrections. And then, okay, now let's move on. Like, don't drag it on. Don't overlook it too fast, because there's some good stuff that we can learn out of here, even though it was a tough loss.
Personally, for both of you, when were you you think about it a lot, you dream about it, you replay everything, or were you like, I have to focus on, I'll play video games, I'll watch a movie, I got to get my mind out of what just happened?
I would say this one's going to sting.
Yeah.
I think this team from the get-go has had high expectations. There are some great leaders on this team, and coming off last year, I think the early loss at USF really stung us. I think we went to Notre Dame and we fought hard for a half, and then we didn't play our brand of football. But if I'm being honest, we've played really well prior to this game.
Yeah.
We've had some great games on the blue. We beat some really good opponents. I don't think anybody, including the guys inside the locker room and on that staff, saw it going like this today. Sometimes it happens. That team's good across the way with a bunch of scholarship players, and they came in.
They won 5 in a row not that long ago. Their defense we knew was good going in. So, yeah, I of course, so much of the focus is going to be on what Boise State didn't do. As you brought up, they still play football, right? Fresno State still does. So Spencer Danielson is coming up. Of course, we're going to get to that. But we have a chance to go to questions in the Ridley's checkout with #HorseshoeQs. So let's start off with this one. What's your favorite Boise State, Fresno State memory? This is what I like. Let's think about the good milk can memories. Because, listen, there is a trophy. We've always had this conversation of who is Boise State's rival because, Idaho is gone and we don't have that. But, like, there is a trophy with this. So, good Fresno State memories.
It would have to be my freshman year, 2017, when we lost to them during the regular season, lost to Milk Cannon, and we beat them in the Mountain West Championship.
Yeah.
For me, that was the start of my rivalry with them because in my first 2 years, I played them 4 times. So with that early, I was thrown into the Fresno State, Boise State rivalry. And, yeah, I would say, but my best memory is 2017, my first year in college and beating them on the blue.
Yeah, I was on staff for that, and that was pretty sweet. I mean, the milk can, the milk jug, whatever it is, it stings as a former player to know that it's been with Fresno for 3 straight years. Not just years, but 3 straight matches. Because that has always been a pride and tradition of this program.
Yeah.
Going back to when I played, and even before that, when Fresno State was coming on the map as a predominant national program and we went and beat them, that kind of put us on the map. And then for years after, it's been a big rivalry because we've represented the conference in a high level.
That's the thing. Every team they play in conference wants to beat them more than anybody else on the schedule. And that's not going to change for Boise State until you saw like a dramatic shift. So That's why I think it's like, well, we talked about Nevada being a rival, and then UNLV, and now Fresno State. So it's just, I think the nature of the beast is every time Boise State plays a conference opponent, they're getting their darndest on the other side.
Yeah, Fresno, I mean, you talk to any alum, and Fresno State has been somebody that this will sting for the alumni. It stings for the current fan base and everybody, but it stings for the alumni base because there's that towards Fresno State. So,
well, let's go to another question really quick on Horseshoe Q's, and you can post that on social media at Horseshoe Q's. If you're Zach Hill, what's your message to the quarterback room after today? Obviously, we want Taylor's thoughts, but Tyreque, I'd love your thoughts as well, too. What's mentally
your thoughts,
mentally for a defensive player? Because if practice is with Max Cutforth, that's a whole new ball game.
Well, honestly, I can give you my coaching side of it. Well, coach a little bit.
Boise,
as a coach, I would tell my player, like, this is a start of a good thing, right? Like, you've put in the work, trust yourself. You're here for a reason. Like, we have you as the number 2 quarterback behind Maddox for a reason. Don't overlook it and think like, oh, when Maddox comes back, don't even worry about that. Handle your job right now. Focus on what's in front of you. And then for Maddox, hey, do everything you can to get back, but do everything you can to help Max right now, right? Like, you're a guy with a lot of experience. You've played a lot of football, and that's something that he's lacking in for the most part. So get him right with the offense. Get him, more connected with some of the guys, and just, trust yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think you hit on it, Reek. What's going through my mind, and it's somebody that's kind of been in a similar situation as a long-time backup.
Yeah.
First of all, for Max, his life's about to get a whole lot of different week to week. And I mean, the reps he's about to get in practice is going to go from 2 every 8 plays to now 6 every 8 plays. And I think that's a huge thing to take note of. As the backup, you're always the guy mentally preparing, and you're going through the stuff, but you're representing the guy at practice that gets a fraction of the reps. And it's always hard to be that guy that's mentally prepared, but physically you haven't gotten the chance to do that. Personally, that was a huge step in my career when I finally got the nod. Belief is a powerful thing. When the coaches buy in and all of a sudden you're getting all those reps at practice, you start to get a whole lot better quickly. So I hope that Max takes advantage these next 2 weeks of those reps he's about to get. And the belief is going to come from guys like Maddox and the rest of the team rallying. Maddox, I promise you, he's not going to sit around and sulk in his injury. He will be in there watching film and getting his guy ready because he's got a belief in that room. So it's going to be a group effort to get a young guy to step up and be ready to go, because that's the only way we're going to continue to forge ahead is have belief in a young quarterback that needs that reps and that confidence.
Yeah, and you feel for the kid. I mean, with what he had, we just had that news story about what he's dealt with on social media, and then you have the physical, the injury, and we'll wait to see details on Maddox Madsen. We know if you were here at the stadium or on TV, a boot on the right foot. Another question here, part of our Ridley's questions. How about this one? What positives do you take away from a performance like this? Fellas, I don't know.
I can honestly start this. Like, honestly, going back, and Tharp kind of hit on it earlier, like, the defense didn't play as bad as the score tells. Like, they only allowed a little bit over 200 total yards of offense. They were about 5 of 16, I think I saw, as far as third down. And from there, it was like they can build off of that. Like, I think they were under 180 yards passing, maybe under 150 yards rushing. Like, that's good to work off of.
Sure.
We just got to find out where it went wrong exactly. Like, as far as in the red zone, we did some good things as far as holding them to field goals instead of touchdowns. That's something we can grow off of.
Yeah, absolutely. More from these guys, but let's go now to the podium with Spencer Danielson.
Well, as always, appreciate you guys' time covering our team, and win or loss, painful moments, happy moments, still give God the glory. Thank you, Jesus, for an opportunity to coach this team, man. And I believe God never says oops, but this hurts. And first off, I want to talk to Bronco Nation. I truly apologize for the product that they watched today. They save their money. They find a way to come out and support our team. And what they watched today was not the standard. And I apologize to all the families and people that found a way to pack that stadium out and stayed the entire game, was loud the entire game, and we did not play to the standard that they deserve. And I truly, truly apologize to Bronco Nation. And it's my job as the head coach to get that fixed, and should have never happened in the first place. It was my job to get it fixed. So Bronco Nation, I'm so thankful for you. I don't take you for granted. We haven't lost at home in a while, and seeing another team come in here and celebrate on the blue after kicking our tails, hurts and it's painful, and it needs to be. And it needs to be for me, it needs to be for our staff, it needs to be for our players. And we do not take it lightly. It's not something that we run from one bit, and it's something that we got to get fixed really, really quick. So in regards to the game, we didn't execute in all three phases, had every opportunity to win the game. Hats off to Coach Entz and Fresno State, though. They came in here and kicked our tails in all three phases. They kicked our tails, and they absolutely earned the right to beat us at home, and hats off to them. In regards to us, we got a lot of work to do in all three phases. And it's not because our starting quarterback goes out early in the game. Yes, that happened. That's adversity, but it's next man up, carry the flag. And we didn't execute enough at all positions on offense to be successful tonight. And we had a Fresno State offense that we were doing a good job against, but then established a run game that we didn't stop. I mean, they ran the ball right down the middle of our defense consistently in the second half of that game, and that cannot happen. I don't care, on the road, at home, you cannot have a team rush for almost 200 yards against you and be successful defensively, period, end of story. Special teams-wise, we flat out just don't do our technique up front in our field goal unit. We get a kick blocked. Can't happen. So when we practice, we got to look at who we're having in those roles. We got to look at what we're making sure we're focused on the right things in practice, because it's something we've done a good job with, and those are critical points in a game that we got to make sure we get that fixed. So in all three phases, we got our tails kicked today. And it's on me as a head coach. I love this team. I love our staff. And the product tonight breaks my heart that that's what we put out there for Bronco Nation. And we got to get it fixed. Still have everything in front of us. We're a one-loss team in the Mountain West that has to find a way to improve and grow in this bye week. Obviously, you don't love going to a bye week with a loss. You don't love a loss regardless. But we knew off a 7-game stretch without a bye week that this was going to be a grind. And we just went out and flat out didn't execute today. Didn't play with the energy and juice that we needed to. And that's on me. And that's absolutely on me. I thought our prep was really good this week, but obviously it wasn't good enough. And I got to look and see where we missed it as a staff to put our players in really good spots. Because it's a great team. I love this team. I love our staff. But my heart is broken for the product that was on the field today.
What, are you expecting to have to go with Max moving forward? Or?
Yeah, we're going to continue to look at what happened with Max. I think it's going to be a while from what I initially saw. We'll give you guys an update on Monday or whenever to give you guys more clarity. But he's an absolute warrior. He's been banging through an ankle injury all year, practicing a little bit, pulling him from stuff to keep him healthy so we can go out there and battle to help his team, because he's a competitor, elite competitor that doesn't think about himself. He cares about the team. But I think it's going to be a while. I don't know. Jason Steele's another one. I think that one could be a while too. We'll see from the initial conversation with me and our trainers. Obviously, we got to continue to look at all the imaging and all that, and we'll see who else is banged up. And we got to get guys healthy in the bye week. But we got to work. We got to get some stuff fixed in all three phases, because we got enough to win games, and we had enough tonight, and we didn't, or this afternoon, and we didn't execute.
From your understanding, is this a re-aggravation of something from whatever happened in the Air Force game, or something more recently, or is this
I
totally
don't
new?
think so. From what it was initially told to me, obviously it's something a little bit different, but we'll see. I'm sure it had something to do with the injury he was battling prior, but from what I was told, this is something different, and so we got to walk that path.
You mentioned Maddox being in and out of practice at various times over the last few months. How prepared do you think Max Cupforth was for that moment today, having to go into the game like that?
Yeah, I know just watching practice. I mean, Max gets a ton of reps. Coach Hill does a phenomenal job with him. He does a good job in practice. He preps the right way. Obviously, he didn't play extremely well tonight, but this isn't on Max, right? Did he play perfect? No, there's some things that Max needs to do better, but this is on our entire team. All parts of our offense we didn't execute well tonight, from our tight ends to our O-line to our receivers to our quarterback. On the flip side, defensively, we didn't execute the way we needed to, special teams-wise. So this is not on Max. Max made some good plays. There's going to be some things on film that watching live, and I know that we got to be better at, and we will be.
Is he clearly the guy?
So there's Spencer Danielson. We'll react to that and more coming up. Matt Lauter's going to join us on set. Jaden Virgin-Morgan recapping a tough one for Boise State. We'll come back with the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show, brought to you by DrinkSip.
What does together really mean?
It's combining two things.
It's family.
Yeah, but it's my friends too.
It's us. Let's go bigger.
Hold up. It's the 07 Hook and Ladder.
It's communication.
Comunicación.
Okay, together is finding common ground.
Even when others say it can't be done.
Like Doctors and Insurance, on the same team.
My team.
That's together.
Let's go.
At Title I, we're more than a title and escrow company. It starts with respect, and we pass it on.
Because humility makes us better teammates.
We stay hungry on and off the field.
And healthy in mind and body.
With integrity at every step.
And community in our heart.
Boise, football season is here. And whether it's touchdowns or turnovers, fans are still waking up happy thanks to DrinkSip non-alcoholic beer. Always fresh, lower calories, delicious taste. Celebrate the highs, rally through the lows, and always stay in the game. A portion of sales goes to help student athletes. DrinkSip NA Beer Company, brought to you by Bronco legend DeMarcus Lawrence and proud sponsor of the Horseshoe Collective.
And welcome back to the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show, brought to you by DrinkSip, as we welcome you back to the Blue. Tight end Matt Lauter joining us now live on set. We appreciate the time. We know after a tough losses, you've had just a little bit of time to kind of let this soak in. What are your biggest takeaways from kind of what happened this afternoon?
Yeah, I think it's nice we have a bye week next week, and we're able to get the guys healthy we need to, because we are low on numbers in some spots on the field. So getting those guys back healthy and generally just our team back healthy and our mindset back together, we're going to be able to come out the next week and play our tails off in San Diego. So, and I think we're all excited to get better. I mean, obviously it was a rough game tonight, but this team's always looking for ways to grow, and Coach D does a good job with teaching us how to continue to grow and not digress. So
hey Matt, I know it was tough tonight, and not easy to move on from, but take us all through kind of these next couple days, especially heading into a bye week. I mean, offensively, I don't think anybody probably expected it to go the way it did. A lot of things kind of just funneled into that jar of bad. But I think that it's important to know. I kind of know, but I want you to explain, what do you guys do tomorrow? How do you get reset, especially during a bye week? And then how do you kind of rally behind, you get healthy, all that stuff. But what's important to happen these next couple weeks for you guys to bounce back?
Yeah, so tomorrow is, we'll have our med check in the morning, get, all the guys checked out by the athletic trainers. They do a wonderful job in helping our players out, from bruises to sprained ankles. And then the next day we have meetings from the past game, and obviously those might not be positive, but we got to get some positive out of it and be able to move on from the game and figure out what we can do better. And then we have a walkthrough that night, and then we'll probably have a walkthrough on Tuesday because it is our bye week, and then we'll be back into our padded practices Wednesday and Thursday. And that's when we're really able to, improve and, be physical during practice. Obviously we have pads on. So the beginning of the week is more mental, and then the backside of the week is more physical. And then, we'll get a few days off to get our mental back right.
Yeah. And just real quick, Joey, before you jump in, but number one thing as a leader on this offense that you feel like you need to help, or your group of leaders offensively need to help everybody understand to move forward?
Yeah, I think it's every individual doing their job, and if we can relay that to, everyone on the offensive line, to the receivers, to the quarterback, even to special teams, we're going to be the team we know we are. Those games are tough because, you go in the locker room knowing you're the better team, and it really does suck. So just everyone improving in their area and not worrying about other people's jobs.
Matt, before we let you go, just your role as a leader on this team, when there's probably a lot of emotions in that locker room, what responsibility do you feel you have over the next 2 weeks as a leader that a lot of these guys will look up to you, and someone that's been through a lot with Bronco Nation and this team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is me just being able to do my job, because then that propels to all the other guys on the offense. If I'm worried about the offensive line, or I'm worried about what the receivers are doing, then I'm not able to do my job, and then there's problems there. So once we get everyone on the same page and everyone to do their job at the best of their ability, you're gonna see Boise State back out on the field again. Yeah.
We appreciate your time,
Yes,
especially
sir.
after a tough loss. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Matt Lauter, we're going to have more. Jaden Virgin-Morgan's going to join us live on set as well. More to come. The Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show brought to you by DrinkSip. We'll be back on the blue coming up.
What does together really mean?
It's combining two things.
It's family.
Yeah, but it's my friends too.
It's us. Let's go bigger.
Hold up. It's the 07 Hook and Ladder.
It's communication.
Comunicación.
Okay, together is finding common ground.
Even when others say it can't be done.
Like Doctors and Insurance on the same team.
My team.
That's together.
Let's go.
At Title One, we're more than a title and escrow company. It starts with respect, and we pass it on.
Because humility makes us better teammates.
We stay hungry on and off the field.
And healthy in mind and body.
With integrity at every step.
And community in our heart.
Boise, football season is here, and whether it's touchdowns or turnovers, fans are still waking up happy thanks to DrinkSip non-alcoholic beer. Always fresh, lower calories, delicious taste. Celebrate the highs, rally through the lows, and always stay in the game. A portion of sales goes to help student athletes. DrinkSip NA Beer Company, brought to you by Bronco legend DeMarcus Lawrence and proud sponsor of the Horseshoe Collective.
Back here live on the blue, Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show brought to you by DrinkSip. A tough one against Fresno State. Jaden Virgin-Morgan joining us now. And I know we just talked to you last home game, a little bit different circumstances. Spencer's message in the locker room. Take us through just, I guess, that feeling of recapping what happened, you know, understanding it, but then obviously turning the page. You just take us through kind of what last 20, 30 minutes has been like.
Yeah, you know, he obviously went over just the game and how tough of a loss it is. You know, these are the games that we want to win, and it's tough to lose these games. But really just being able to know that we still have everything in front of us, and knowing that if we go into this bye week and go 1-0 in this bye week and attack it like we have a game at the end of it, we're going to be just fine for sure.
So as a leader on this team, and I know there's more of you guys, how do you guys see, you know, this next week going into the bye week, and how do you guys, you know, as a leadership group, rally the guys and keep them focused?
Yeah, I think just coming together as a leadership group first and being able to talk and being able to just make sure everybody that has their different position groups and everything, just make sure you bring the guys with you and make sure that everyone's head's on straight. And like I said before, making sure that we still have everything ahead of us, and really just attacking the bye week and knowing that it's an important week for us, and not just, you know, taking it easy and taking a week off. Is if we attack the week, we should be good for sure.
And harping on, like you said, the bye week, how hard will it be or a challenge just for you guys to go from the bye week to an actual game week? What's that like as far as the focus, you know, going over the next 2 weeks rather than just looking at just the bye week?
Yeah, I think that's one of the tougher things when you go into a bye week, just knowing that you don't have a game that week, but you have a game the next week, and really just being able to prepare for the week after the bye and just staying focused on the days at hand, the practices at hand, and like I said before, not taking it easy just because you have the week off, and really just being able to get everybody's bodies right, everybody's bodies back to healthy as much as we can, and really just taking care of what we need to take care of is going to be really important for us.
For, you know, you personally, are you one that will spend a lot of time just really breaking this down, what happened, or are you like, I've got to get on to San Diego State? I know it's still 2 weeks away. Mentally for you, how do you bounce back from something like that?
Yeah, I think it's important to go over the plays, you know, go over the game, make sure that you know what happened and the mistakes that you can fix, and really just bring in the things that you need to fix into the next week, especially going into the bye week, being able to know the mistakes you made, fix those, and we have an extra week to prepare for SDSU. So I think that's going to be really important for us.
Well, Jaden, we appreciate it you joining us here on the show, and we cannot wait for the game against San Diego State in 2 weeks. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Good to have you.
One of the big leaders for this team, Jaden Virgin-Morgan. More to come with the fellas. Jay Tust also around the corner as we'll recap this one. It's the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show brought to you by DrinkSip.
What does together really mean?
It's combining two things.
It's family.
Yeah, but it's my friends too.
It's us. Let's go bigger.
Hold up. It's the 07 Hook and Ladder.
It's communication.
Comunicación.
Okay, together is finding common ground.
Even when others say it can't be done.
Like Doctors and Insurance, on the same team.
My team.
That's together.
Let's go.
At Title I, we're more than a title and escrow company. It starts with respect, and we pass it on.
Because humility makes us better teammates.
We stay hungry on and off the field.
And healthy in mind and body.
With integrity at every step.
And community in our heart.
Boise, football season is here, and whether it's touchdowns or turnovers, fans are still waking up happy thanks to DrinkSip non-alcoholic beer. Always fresh, lower calories, delicious taste. Celebrate the highs, rally through the lows, and always stay in the game. A portion of sales goes to help student athletes. DrinkSip NA Beer Company, brought to you by Bronco legend DeMarcus Lawrence and proud sponsor of the Horseshoe Collective.
Welcome back here, 30-7, the final score. Fresno State getting the win, the shocking win, I think, for a lot of Bronco Nation on the blue here today. A lot on stake, obviously. The milk can stays at Fresno. It is now 3 straight games that they have taken the milk can. It snaps the 16-game home win streak. We'll get into that more, but it is the Ridley's Checkout. Our final thoughts. You've heard from Spencer. We just heard from Matt Lauter. We heard from Jaden Virgin-Morgan. Taylor, I'll start with you. Just your final thoughts about this loss and 2 weeks before a massive game against San Diego State. Massive game. They're playing Wyoming right now, but that is going to still be for the lead of the Mountain West.
Yeah, I think my final thought is, as much as I'd like to talk more about this Fresno State game, I think I'm over it because there's not much to pull from it.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked to a couple leaders up here about how they're going to take on the next couple weeks, but let's flush it, man. And it stinks to have to say that because nobody expected it to go like this tonight, especially on the blue and against Fresno State, which is a rival of ours. That was tough, but give your credit to Fresno for the way they played. We heard Coach Danielson talk about it. But most importantly, do we have the mentality to know that we still control a lot of our own destiny in the conference for the rest of this season? Can we finish strong as far as this team this year? Do we have that mentality? Can we get healthy enough to come back? I think the guys pointed out, but we know it as fans in Bronco Nation. We're not very healthy right now. We've got to get guys back. We've got to have our guys on the field that are contributors. And, you know, I think the last thing is, unfortunately tonight we didn't do it, but we got to handle some adversity. You know, this season hasn't been an easy route for us, and we've not had everything given to us. How do we handle adversity? We didn't handle it very well today. There was a lot of things that didn't go our way. We had injuries. We've been banged up. So can we be a team that has grit, that battles, that digs deep, that's led from our coaches down to our leaders, down through the team? And can we find a way to finish these next, I don't know how many more games we have, 3, 4 seasons strong, and still be in the picture for the conference at the end? Because we can, and I know we will.
Yeah.
I would say, honestly, and this probably wouldn't show up to, like, the fans or anything. It's probably more like us that can actually see the details. But I hope this loss doesn't have them lose the confidence that they've been playing with and that they've built since not only the USF game but the Notre Dame game, right? Like, seeing these guys on the blue the last couple weeks has been amazing. It's been electric. They've put points on the board. Like, they've played with that. And although, like you said, we didn't have everything that we wanted to go our way happen tonight, we didn't have a lot go our way that we wanted to tonight. But even still, like, don't lose sight of what we've put out in display. And, like, find that confidence, find that trust within ourselves, and bring that back out.
Yeah, the college football playoff dreams kind of crushed maybe a little bit. You could make the case maybe right from week 1 after Notre Dame and then after this. But there is still a chance to be on top of the Mountain West Conference in a couple weeks with hopefully a good trip to San Diego. All right, we're going to wrap up with Jay Tust and Tust Stats when we return from the blue. There he is. He's got those big biceps because he can do stuff like that. That's coming up on the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show, brought to you by DrinkSip.
What does together really mean?
It's combining 2 things.
It's family.
Yeah, but it's my friends too.
It's us. Let's go bigger.
Hold up. It's the 07 hook and ladder.
It's communication.
Comunicación.
Okay, together is finding common ground.
Even when others say it can't be done.
Like Doctorson Insurance, on the same team.
My team.
That's together.
Let's go.
At Title I, we're more than a title and escrow company. It starts with respect, and we pass it on.
Because humility makes us better teammates.
We stay hungry on and off the field.
And healthy in mind and body.
With integrity at every step.
And community in our heart.
Boise, football season is here, and whether it's touchdowns or turnovers, fans are still waking up happy thanks to DrinkSip non-alcoholic beer. Always fresh, lower calories, delicious taste. Celebrate the highs, rally through the lows, and always stay in the game. A portion of sales goes to help student athletes. DrinkSip NA Beer Company, brought to you by Bronco legend DeMarcus Lawrence and proud sponsor of the Horseshoe Collective.
All right, back at it. It is the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show brought to you by DrinkSip. Not the scenario we wanted to be on the blue, but we are giving you the recap. We are so grateful for Jaden Virgin-Morgan joining us. Matt Lauter, they don't have to do that. They could tell us to kick rocks, but now it's time for our hashtag Tust Stats presented by St. Luke's Health Plan. And Jay, you can always find a stat somewhere. I know when we were talking at halftime and just – it's weird, man. It's when you have days like this, especially on the blue, because when a lot of people were watching on TV with USF, but this was a different ball game tonight.
Yeah, it's few and far between. I mean, I've covered this team now. This is my 15th season, and there just aren't a whole lot of times where you get a feeling it's over before the game is over.
Yeah,
and it just felt like as adversity continued to mount in the second half. And then, Fresno State was able to just get a couple more scores, and you're looking at the clock, and you're just like, I just don't think there's enough time or enough firepower on offense from what we've witnessed so far to really make up for this. And it's just not often that happens, and that's why I think it's just a tough reality to really kind of grapple with and understand.
Yeah, and I think for this team, we've had these moments. Notre Dame, I think going to Notre Dame, I don't know. I think certainly you hope that they played better than they did, but it reminds me of the feeling in September where you're watching the game and you're like, whoa, this is kind of a little odd. And maybe there's some scary moments against Nevada, too, where it got a little – where you're like, okay. But stats regardless.
On top of that, I mean, Tyreque, it's like the blue is the cure-all, too.
And that's what it feels like normally.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they had just won 16 in a row on the blue.
You kind of feel unstoppable on the blue.
Right?
Like you got a superpower.
Yeah. And I know that that's technically not – there is no magic fairy dust they sprinkle on you guys where you just go off and rip off 16 in a row.
But Bronco Nation is so used to it.
Yeah, they're a huge factor as well. Like I even noticed it as far as like not just third downs when we get those false starts, but early first and second down. Yeah. Like when you can get an offense pushed back early within the chains and not only just third down, that helps the defense a lot. But that's a testament to our fans and just the atmosphere that the blue provides. So I mean, that's tough to kind of go without.
Tyreque, during your time here, you had quarterbacks that dealt with injuries. There were games where you were missing your starting quarterbacks, and you would call on some guys down the depth chart. But still, when it's that position, how does that play with the psyche of the team?
It's obviously situational, but like to your point, like I've had some situations like on the blue back in 2020 BYU when we played them. We were down to our fourth string. You were
literally playing Andy Peters, a walk-on from Timberline High School. Who Andy, you went on to have a heck of a college career, buddy. Record-setting quarterback at College of Idaho. He's still wrapping up in Minnesota, doing some nice things, but still. You guys had a true freshman from Idaho playing
and
quarterback in that game.
And he did nothing but scout team that entire week. So, like, as far as the psyche when it comes to that, it is situational. I mean, because for the most part, I would still be confident in my second string, right, because he's the next guy that's getting the reps with the twos and stuff. We get to the third and now fourth, which I've experienced the fourth. Okay, now I'm not gonna lie, I'm losing it. Like as a player, like, and then we're not, successful on the
defense,
field.
I also assume like guys, we got to be perfect.
We got to do more. Yeah, we have to accommodate for that.
And the moment you're not perfect, you feel like you got to be more perfect, and it just kind of like snowballs from there.
It takes guys away from doing their job, right? Like now you got guys that feel like, and coaches always say this: we don't need heroes, right? Like we don't need guys that do anything outside of their job. But when you have too many guys go down,
sure.
And we were already coming into this game hurt, at receiver and certain key positions. But for the most part, it does kind of play with the psyche. And as much as a coach, you can sit and be like next man up and things like that. As a player, you see it, right? And you're going through it, and you know the execution is not what it should be, and it's hard.
I want to get to some stats here in just a second, but I do want to ask you one quick question about a guy that plays in the defensive backfield, because despite it all today, I was still very inspired by the way Ty Benefield played.
Yes.
Take a moment to watch Zero, guys. He's special. He still has another year of eligibility here, 11 tackles. He has now led the team in tackles in every game but one from the safety position.
Wow.
And I think you also see how active he is around the line of scrimmage, too. It's not like he's just sitting back 20 yards deep and absorbing stuff.
Right.
But as a guy that played in the secondary at Boise State, how inspired do you get by watching Zero out there?
I think it definitely fires me up.
Yeah.
If I had to really put like a visual on how I really see him, I think he's a mixture of me and JL, right? Like the idea of like
that's dangerous.
And just I'm just speaking as far as like his role. Like I was more the guy who sat back and filled up, like as far as like the cleanup guy, things like that. JL was more of the enforcer. So like that's where like you said like Ty, he's around the line of scrimmage. That's more JL-esque. When he's back into coverage and playing the deep, and that was more me. So that's where he can be that guy that kind of goes back and forth and plays those roles, and that's very valuable to have at the safety position.
Whenever anybody wants to compare him to JL, I almost like, that's not the complete picture.
Yes.
Maybe you just gave us the complete picture, because I know he wears this number 0 like JL did, but like I just don't feel like it actually is totally Ty Benefield's game. I think Ty's phenomenal.
Yeah, and just the effort, too. With the score the way it was, to see the effort, I think was huge. And like when we talked to Lauter and JVM, like just to hear them, like you feel confident in him, and that's what I love. Like it doesn't feel down in the dumps. All right, let's get to some stats. I know we got a couple today from the takeaway with the loss.
We'll start on the defensive side, and talking with Spencer Danielson in the post-game press conference, he wasn't completely pleased with the defensive effort, but my gosh, man, they were putting short fields all ball game. Right. I actually thought they responded pretty darn well given the circumstances. And, I mean, look at this. When Boise State allows 225 yards or less, prior today they were a perfect 53-0 since 2000. So another way to say that, this is the first time they've allowed less than 225 yards and lost a game in at least 25 years.
That's crazy.
I mean, I honestly felt like, given everything that went on in the game today, I actually thought the defense played their tails off. I know they probably gave up a few too many rushing yards, especially in the second half when, you look at a Fresno State team that they did not want to throw the ball. Their quarterback was 10 of 21 for 35 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why you win those games normally. So
usually.
I actually I thought the defense played pretty well as a group. Maybe some little moments here and there, but 7 3 and outs on 15 total drives.
Yeah.
I mean, if darn near 50%, you take that, right, Tyreque?
Yeah, of course. And that's a good day in the office. I mean, granted, like you said, the short fields, we didn't get any turnovers, but we had turnovers on offense, so that also put us in a bad position. But, I mean, we really responded. And to have under 225 total yards of offense, being that they were on the field a lot, because I think the time of possession was about 10 minutes gap from each other. I think we were about 22, 23, and they were about 30, 31, somewhere around there. Like,
and it was one of those games where you look down, you could have told me it was 40-20, and I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right, Tyreque. Like, it just felt like they were on the field forever in the second half.
Right.
Jumping on over to the offensive side now, I know that, man, it's hard to maybe identify some good moments in this game, but I think that Chase Penry just deserves us to pause here and
look at that. You got it down to the day, Tust.
Wow.
The days.
He transferred from Colorado. He played there early in his career. He scored a touchdown against USC on October 2nd, 2021. Today he scored a touchdown. It was 1,491 days between scoring college touchdowns, and Chase is a great kid. I know that, he is one of those what you probably consider a super senior, where he has an additional year of eligibility and things like that, and he's really worked hard and waited for his moment, and he's very low ego, high output type of guy in practice. And that's just one of those things where, Tyreque, you know how how hard these guys grind, how much they sacrifice,
especially at the receiver position.
Right,
yeah.
and I know
with Ben Ford being
exactly, and I know the score reads 30-7 bad guys tonight, but I still think that Chase Penry just deserves a little bit of a moment here to realize how much he went through over those 1,491 days, injuries and all, and he still persevered to have that moment down there in the end zone.
I would even say with him, like we speak about the receiver position, a lot of that talk coming out of that room has been Latrell Caples, Ben Ford, Chris Marshall. Now we get to see Chase Penry, put something out there. And like you said, through all this time and stuff, like I know how hard the receivers work. Like you guys are, an extended part of the run game. You guys really don't get many opportunities in the offense to, be explosive and get those catches and stuff. But for the most part, you guys are that important. And
Chase is one of those guys too. He's like in a lot of packages or situations where he is often blocking in the run game versus in when everybody's running go routes and things like that. So he is just kind of a tough competitor, and I think it's just cool that he was able to do that tonight. Even in a loss, deserves some shine.
Well, Jay, we appreciate you, Bronco Studios. We know, listen, bye weeks a lot of times is downtime, but I think with the game the way it was, with all the health, we saw some of Spencer. We probably don't have any more details. We saw Maddox Madsen obviously boot on the right foot, but there's going to be a lot of conversations about how healthy can this team get before San Diego State and just bouncing back.
Yeah, and Spencer, he's always he's as transparent as any coach that I've ever covered here at Boise State when it comes to injuries. He doesn't know the extent of it. He just said that he was told he thinks it's going to be a little while with Maddox Madsen, but they'll make sure they update us as that goes. But even Maddox being out, you look at there's a moment there where these guys got to go down and respond on offense, and you have a backup in at left guard, a backup in at center, you have your backup at quarterback, you're without your number 1 and number 3 wide receivers, and honestly, you're really without your 1 and 2 because when Ben got hurt, he ranked 1 and 2 on the team in receiving yards with Chris Marshall. So I mean I get it, next man up, and I've heard that
for years.
1,000 times, if not more.
Yeah.
But come on, I don't even know how many times Boise State's probably practiced with that exact rotation, and you guys practice at like nauseum, right? But to wind up with kind of that, and it's not a knock on those guys or anything like that. I'm just trying to make the fans understand they were really trying to battle some things there in a non-ideal situation on the scoreboard too.
Yeah, I would say something off of that though is the chemistry, right? Like those guys, like you said, group has probably not been in practice together, running routes, the timing, the QB being able to know when this guy's running this route and when he breaks, I put it there. All that stuff, that chemistry goes a long way. And when the starting quarterback is getting that with the ones for a very long time, and then you have certain guys go down, you plug those pieces. But it's only so many pieces that you can
and
plug.
There's still something in your mind that is how long is he going to hold up in pass protection? I haven't had a ton of reps with that guy, and also the guy in front of me, and also the wide receivers. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses. I know it all sounds like an excuse. And 30-7, I mean, we'll all agree that's unacceptable. You got to find a way. This is Boise State. I totally get that. But it was an uphill battle all night tonight after Maddox Madsen went down.
Yeah.
And I also
think the shift.
I also think that maybe not that I like to use moments like this to say something like this. I think we all learned a valuable lesson about the importance of Mr. Maddox Madsen.
Yep, and in everything that's been talked about him in the last couple of weeks that he's brought up himself to what you see on the internet, I'm with you. And I also appreciated Spencer Danielson saying, hey, I apologize to Bronco Nation. You pay a ticket. He's always been on that. He's always been on people are working full-time jobs, getting their weekends off to go to games like this. And I think that I love to hear that from him, too, to say, listen, we don't think this is acceptable. We don't just say, oh, well, thanks for coming, and we'll figure it out. But, truly sorry for the performance today on the Blue.
It's authentic. It's real. Yeah. It is who he is. He has said that before, basically, and you know that it means something to him. And now we got this short little runway here with the bye week at the beginning of it that they have to attack this. And I think that one thing that I would say, not that I ever give a pep talk or anything like that, you don't want to lose today, but I don't know how much really changes. Yeah. They still control their fate when it comes to winning the Mountain West title. They did that. They had that before today. You mentioned the college football playoff. Honestly, we're all dreaming and we're watching scoreboards and things like that. But it was also to the point where that's what Boise State was doing. They controlled none of that. So really with what they control, the outcome of today, nothing really did change. They still got to go win the Mountain West title, and even somehow sneaking into the college football playoff would have came down to a lot of other stuff happening elsewhere that they didn't control. So in-house, not a lot changes for them.
And that's something that we harp on, like, just as far as the culture of this program is control what you can control. I know me being here, that was something Harrison used to tell us, like control the controllables and things like that, because when you focus on the outside noise and you're distracted by things that you can't control, it takes away from you being able to focus on what you can't control. And right now for us, that's still being able to control whether we play in the Mountain West Championship.
We got like another hour. How long
you know what? All I know is this, and we appreciate Jay Tust, Tyreque Jones, Taylor Tharp, and everyone behind the scenes, but no one drink milk for the next week. Can we just get on it? Everyone should be lactose intolerant. A tough one for Boise State, but bye week and then on the road at San Diego State for a lead in the Mountain West Conference. We appreciate you for being here. Appreciate, of course, JVM, Matt Lauter joining us. It is 30-7, a upset win for Fresno State on the blue. This has been the Horseshoe Collective Postgame Show, brought to you by DrinkSip. We'll be back for our next home game on the blue on the 22nd.
What does together really mean?
It's combining two things.
It's family.
Yeah, but it's my friends too.
It's us. Let's go bigger.
Hold up. It's the 07 Hook and Ladder.
It's communication.
Comunicación.
Okay, together is finding common ground.
Even when others say it can't be done.
Like Doctorson Insurance on the same team.
My team.
That's together.
Let's go.
At Title I, we're more than a title and escrow company. It starts with respect, and we pass it on.
Because humility makes us better teammates.
We stay hungry on and off the field.
And healthy in mind and body.
With integrity at every step.
And community in our heart.
Boise, football season is here, and whether it's touchdowns or turnovers, fans are still waking up happy thanks to DrinkSip non-alcoholic beer. Always fresh, lower calories, delicious taste. Celebrate the highs, rally through the lows, and always stay in the game. A portion of sales goes to help student athletes. DrinkSip NA Beer Company, brought to you by Bronco legend DeMarcus Lawrence and proud sponsor of the Horseshoe Collective.